live here on the great WRKO and now on 93.7 HD2, Hour 3 of the Kuhner Report, 617-266-6868. You can text us at 680-680. As you know, here is now the latest, my friends. Mini-Me, after announcing yesterday, El Diablo Deval, Patrick, after El Diablo Patrick announced yesterday that he had acquiesced, agreed to the request from the dear leader, that since Maryland won't take him, since Connecticut won't take him, since California won't take him, since Iowa won't take him, since states, towns, and cities all across the country won't take him, he has agreed to essentially turn Massachusetts into Massachusetts. And is going to allow illegal immigrants being dumped across the border from Central America to be sheltered and housed here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Yesterday, he has now provided more details. Here is now what the governor plans, what Mini-Me plans. He now says that he will take in, his words exactly, several hundred children from Central America. That he says they will then be given shelter here in the United States, in Massachusetts, in the Bay State. And not only will they be given shelter, they're going to be given shelter, he says, temporarily for 4 months. They're all going to be given a lawyer, in which then they can go to court and deal with the processing of their claims of whether they have a right to refugee status. They still haven't decided upon a facility. However, he says he wants it to be a, quote, secure facility, but not a jail. And in particular, he stresses, he wants it to be a good facility, a prosperous facility, whereby the kids can play, the kids can go to school, the kids can have fun, but he doesn't want it to be, quote, like a jail. And again, in today's Boston Globe, and in other media outlets, they keep floating Camp Edwards. It seems to me pretty obvious that they're settling on Camp Edwards. He hasn't made a decision yet, nothing publicly he's announced, but it's pretty obvious they keep throwing around Camp Edwards, which is a big military base, a reservation in Cape Cod, which took in about 300 people from Hurricane Katrina when the hurricane struck. So they believe that facility would be adequate. A couple of quick points. First of all, what does several hundred mean? Notice Mini-Me doesn't want to give us a specific number. Is several hundred 200? 300? 400? What, 500? Could it be 600? 700? Notice how he's being deliberately vague. That's point number one. Point number two. What I find incredible, in the face of this incredible popular backlash across the country and here in the Commonwealth, the people don't want it. In fact, just yesterday, mayors and superintendents from Lynn, from New Bedford, from Chelsea, they come out one after, sheriffs from county after county after county, all came out and saying, we can't handle this. Our social services, school systems, and hospitals are already to the breaking point. Sheriff Hodgson from Bristol County came out and said, it's not going to be temporary. Who are they kidding? It's going to be permanent. And that's going to be a magnet to bring in even more. Because the word is going to be out. If you make it to Massachusetts, amigo, you get to stay. And they'll set you up in school. They'll give you vaccinations. They'll give you health care. They'll give you EBT cards. They'll give you welfare. They'll give you food stamps. They'll give you public housing. Hell, they'll even give you an Obama phone. If you're lucky, you can go to one of these swanky resorts they're going to set you up in. Maybe with tennis courts, racquetball courts, spas, saunas, the whole bit. Maybe even a soccer field. This to me is, who are they kidding? This is not going to be temporary. In fact, he's arming them with lawyers. He's already getting ready to give every single one of them a lawyer so they can be reunited with their families here in Massachusetts. Bring the parents up here. And once you allow the first wave, how can you say no to the second wave, and then the third wave, and then the fourth wave? By his own logic. If this is a humanitarian crisis, as he put it, if this is an issue of compassion and tolerance and diversity, so why only 300 children and not 1,000? If we're such a big-hearted country that we can tolerate, we can accept it, why stop at 300? Why not 1,000? Why not 2,000? Why not 5,000? Why not 10,000? By your own logic. You would think. I understood that Martha Coakley supported Mini-Me because she's a liberal Democrat and a progressive. I understand that Steve Grossman came out and supported Deval Patrick because he's a liberal Democrat and a progressive. But what I cannot believe, you want to talk about betraying his own base. You want to talk about betraying the taxpayers of this state because we're the ones that are going to fit the bill. It's Charlie Baker. Good time, Charlie. I don't see Charlie. I don't hear from Charlie. He's got a wonderful opportunity now to use the immigration issue to say stop the invasion, to be on the side of the overwhelming majority of people in this state, Republicans, Independents, and Democrats, all across the political spectrum. Charlie Baker has now come out and said that he agrees with Diablo Patrick, with Mini-Me, that Massachusetts should be hosting the children. Quote, all of this is straight from Charlie Baker. According to the Boston Globe in today's paper, if you want to check it out, it's on A6. All of the states, including Massachusetts, should be part of the effort to provide humanitarian relief for the unaccompanied children that have crossed the border, unquote. Charlie said, calling the crisis, quote, heartbreaking, unquote. Baker said that federal officials need to provide details about the facility and a, quote, absolute guarantee, unquote, that it would be temporary. Now, I don't know if he's just being deliberately naive, with all due respect, or he just doesn't have much between his ears. Do you honestly think this is going to be temporary? What planet are you living on? With all due respect, sober up and get out of the bar. What are you smoking? Everybody knows this is going to be permanent. Because it's been permanent everywhere else it's happened, including here in Massachusetts. According now to U.S. Census figures, over the last 5-6 years, 100,000 Hondurans, El Salvadorians, and Guatemalans have come into Massachusetts, many of them illegally, and they aren't going anywhere. Why do you think it'll be different with these so-called unaccompanied minors, Charlie? We now face potential influx of diseases, the measles, chickenpox, the swine flu, tuberculosis, that threatens everyone's kids. You now have Lynn at the breaking point. You have Chelsea at the financial breaking point. We can't even take care of our own people. The taxpayers have been taxed to the hilt. And in the face of this blatant invasion, the man who is supposed to be the standard bearer for the middle and working class of this state, for the hardworking taxpayers and families of this state, doesn't even have the backbone and the stomach to say niet, to say no. Look at the discrepancy between the elites and the people. All of the three major candidates for the governor from the Democrats support Mini-Me. The leading Republican candidate, Charlie Baker, supports Mini-Me. Yet the people don't want it. Kuhner country, it's going to be up to us. We are going to have to come out in big numbers. We need now a populist revolt where we will tell the arrogant elected leaders of our state, starting with the governor, his potential successors, and that fraud of a Republican candidate, Charlie Baker, that it's time to put the interests of the people of Massachusetts first. Send them home. You're not welcome here. 617-266. Yes, Charlie Baker does support Deval Patrick on this issue. El Diablo. Okay, why? Why? You're saying okay, like I'm reading from the Globe. Oh, okay. I'm reading from the Boston Globe. It's right here in unless the Boston Globe is lying, unless they falsified Charlie Baker's quotes, I can only go by what the media reports. 617-266-6868. We're now joined by State Representative Shauna O'Connell, Republican from Taunton. Representative O'Connell, thank you so much for coming on the Kuhner Report.
Hey, good morning, Jeff. Glad to hear you talking about this morning, but certainly not surprised. Thank you.
So, Shauna, we're going to be holding a major rally, a Stop the Invasion rally. It's going to be led by Kuhner Country next Saturday, July 26th at 11 o'clock a.m. in the morning, the steps of the state capitol. Representative O'Connell, can we count on you to be with us?
Oh, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for putting this together. You know, I've been out knocking on doors in Taunton, visiting folks in neighborhoods, and people say, you know, close the floodgates, stop the bleeding. We need to take care of our kids here in Massachusetts. And, you know, for Deval Patrick to lecture us on taking care of kids is pretty unbelievable, considering the poor job that he has done in DCF. And we've lost kids in DCF, 134 kids missing last year. And we all know about the tragic story of Jeremiah Oliver. You know, he can't even take care of the kids that are here in Massachusetts.
Representative O'Connell, I have to ask you this. Why do you think Governor Patrick is doing this? What are his motives? The people don't want it. It's deeply unpopular. Other Democratic governors, Maryland, Connecticut, and others, have rejected them. Is it just because he wants to do his buddy Obama a favor? Or do you think there's something more nefarious at stake?
You know, I don't think Deval Patrick has ever cared a whole lot about what the people of Massachusetts want. And he is in line, step in toe with Barack Obama, doing his buddy a favor. And, you know, it just seems like, you know, a plan that they're carrying out somehow, and they're bringing more and more illegal people here to Massachusetts and to the United States. And, you know, keep in mind, Jeff, that some of these so-called children, we've heard from the Lynn public schools, the officials there, some of them have gray hair. They can't verify what their ages are. One kid came to school wanting to verify his identity with an arrest warrant, handed them an arrest warrant. So, you know, there are some real safety implications here as well.
Well, I got to ask you this. I mean, as somebody who's been on the front lines of welfare reform and cracking down on EBT fraud in particular, I know you do other issues, but this has been one of your big issues. Just for our listeners, can you remind them how many illegal immigrants are estimated to be in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and how much has it been costing the taxpayers, ballpark, year after year after year? Yeah,
so it's estimated that there are 220,000 illegal immigrants here already, and these are conservative estimates. And if we say, you know, estimate that they're getting the least amount of benefits just in cash and food stamps, that's $55,000 a month, which equals $660 million a year. And that is only two benefits. You know, add in housing, health care, education, and all the other benefits that they're going to be entitled to. And that tab goes up astronomically.
It's over $1 billion.
Oh, it's got to be.
So this is costing us over $1 billion a year, and the governor wants to bring in more?
Exactly. How much can the people of Massachusetts take?
This is incredible.
You know, It really is incredible. And, we did that press conference on the State House stairs yesterday, just letting people know how much waste there already is in government, on the heels of tax increases last year and on the heels of an automatic gas tax increase. And that tab was over $2 billion. Add into it several hundred more. We need a number here.
What do you think what is the state legislature going to do? I know that State Representative Ryan Fatman, he's a Webster Republican, is going to be introducing a non-binding resolution in the House, the State House, urging Governor Patrick to deny a request to take in the children. But it's non-binding. It has no teeth. Is there anything the state legislature can do?
That's a good question, Jeff, because we know that the state legislature right now is controlled by the one-party system, and I think a lot of legislators are going to be hesitant to even want to touch this issue. But we're going to go in there, and we're going to continue to fight against it. I think what we really need to do is get the people, because this is how I think we get things done from the outside in. When the people revolt, when they call their legislators, when they have their voices heard, that's when we make a difference here in Massachusetts. So people really need to do that and say no to allowing more illegal immigrants to come here to Massachusetts.
We have been talking with State Representative Shauna O'Connell, Republican from Taunton. Representative O'Connell, thank you so much for coming on the Kuhner Report, and we'll see you next Saturday.
Hey, thanks, Jeff. See you then. Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. My friends, next Saturday, 11 o'clock in the morning at the steps of the State House, July 26th, a rally, Stop the Invasion. Let's tell Diablo Patrick no. 617-266-6868 is the number. What do you make of Deval Patrick's plan, the new details? Charlie Baker says he agrees. I want to hear from you. 617-266-6868, 822 on the Great WRKO. All of your calls next. 826 here on the Great WRKO, 617-266-6868. Diablo Patrick has now said, we'll take a couple hundred, several hundred. What does that mean? 3, 4, 5, 6, 700. We're taking them. It looks like it's going to be at Camp Edwards. He wants to shelter them, he says, for about 4 months. Already immigration advocates are saying they want to give them lawyers, they want them out, and they want them in our communities here permanently. I say no. It's going to bankrupt us. What do you say, Massachusetts? Tom, you're up next. Go.
Jeff Kuhner, 680 RKO, our grand, exalted, mystic leader. That's red, white, and blue dynamite, baby.
Thanks so much, Tom. I appreciate it, buddy.
Jeff, God bless you. Jeff, we got our southern border melting down. We're on the verge of World War III starting. We've got 298 people blasted out of the sky. But I wanted to report the New York fundraiser went off without a glitch. He only had to waste 16 seconds on the plane crash, and it went off without a glitch. I want to report Rory McIlroy is -6. He's leading the British Open. Jeff, can you give me a weather report for Martha's Vineyard?
Thank you for that call, Tom. Kathy, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Go ahead, Kathy.
Oh, hello, Jeff. I think I know why Obama's laughing all the time and nothing bothers him. The Constitution says, in the case of disagreement between the House and the Senate with respect to the time of adjournment, he may adjourn them to as such time as he thinks proper. So in November, if the Republicans win, he can just adjourn the House and Senate till he feels it's right to bring them back.
Look, Kathy, I got to tell you, I think he's laughing because there's no opposition. You have these craven, gutless, yellow Republicans up on Capitol Hill, very similar to many, not all. You heard Shauna O'Connell. There are some fighters, but for the most part, you have these craven, gutless, yellow Republicans here on Beacon Hill. And if what the Globe is reporting, and they're quoting him verbatim, allegedly in an interview, and I haven't heard Charlie's people call in to basically disavow what he told the Globe, so I have to go with what he told the Globe in an interview. He's okay with this? If you can't stand up against an illegal invasion of our state, what good are you to me? 617-2... Honestly, it's pathetic. 617... And on an issue, never mind the morality of the issue. Never mind that. Politically, it's a winner. I've got liberals here at Entercom who can't stand this idea. You've got Democrats on Beacon Hill who can't stand this idea. He can get Democrats, he can get independents, he can get moderates. My God, this election alone could carry him to victory in November. And instead, hey, that's what I say about the Republicans in this state. They are the Palestinians of America. They never miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity. Russ, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Go ahead, Russ.
First of all, DeVal Patrick is one of Obama's favorite puppets on a string. That's all he is. He pulls his strings, and he'll do whatever he wants to do. And he really doesn't give a damn about the people of Massachusetts. And let's face it, both on Beacon Hill and Capitol Hill, do they really care about the American children in the inner city that are under the thumbs of the drug dealers? Do they care about pushing the Big Brother and Big Sister programs? No. And none of them care about it. None of them get involved in it. And they're nothing but a bunch of frauds.
Thank you for that call, Russ. As usual, very well said. 8:30 on the great WRKO. More with your calls next. Let's take it to Angela in the newsroom.
We've been asked here whether we can make some space available. We are looking to try to make space available because I do think that is consistent with the big-heartedness of the people of the Commonwealth, and it's been shown over and over again. So I hope we are able to accommodate. I'm not sure we can.
8:37 here on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. So Mini-Me has now come out and said he wants at least several hundred unaccompanied minors, quote unquote, to now be housed and sheltered, he says temporarily for 4 months, in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I don't believe him. He's a liar. They're going to stay here permanently. We all know it. The only question is how long and how much is this going to cost us and how many are they going to be coming in? I don't think it's going to be a couple hundred. I think it's going to be a lot more. And just to show you the kind of resistance there is to this, in today's Boston Herald, page 6, page 7, don't take my word for it, very good piece by Owen Boss. The mayors and or superintendents of Lynn, New Bedford, Brockton, Chelsea, Quincy, Everett, they're all coming out of the woodwork, saying we cannot handle this. It is going to bankrupt us, bankrupt our schools, bankrupt our hospitals, bankrupt our social services, never mind all the potential diseases, criminality, and violence that are eventually going to be poured into our communities. We do not want this invasion. Send them all home. And what is Charlie Baker's response? The supposed leading Republican candidate to be the next governor? We should do the right thing, and he agrees with DeVal Patrick, Diablo Patrick, Mini-Me. So, my friends, why don't we send Charlie Baker a message? Let him know how we feel about this betrayal by the supposed standard bearer of the middle and working class of this state. So give his campaign headquarters a call if you want. Here is the number, 617-254-2014. 617-254-2014. And let his campaign people know how you feel about him siding with DeVal Patrick. 617-266-6868. My question to Mini-Me, to Diablo Patrick, is this. You phony, you fraud, you. What did Obama offer you for you to betray your people of your state the way you did so flagrantly and so deviously? What quid pro quo? What cabinet position did he offer you? What job did he offer you? Was it the email list if you want to run for president in 2016? Was it to be Eric Holder's replacement after the midterms as Attorney General? What did he put on the table for you to betray the people of Massachusetts so cravenly the way you did? 617-266-6868 is the number. Mike, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. Hey, Jeff, I was thinking, too bad the model hightailed it up to New Hampshire. You know, he could run in this issue. He might have got elected down here. But you know that phony. He ran up to New Hampshire. Jeff, what they're going to do is this. They're going to disperse these kids under a program similar to Medco. We had a Medco program where they took inner city kids and dispersed them throughout the suburban high schools around the Commonwealth. They're going to set up a program dispersing these kids, 50 here, 25 here, 25 in Wellesley, 25 in Newton, 25 in Drake, and so on and so forth. And they're going to have guest houses to take care of them because the liberals have open hearts. But that's how I think they're going to solve this, and it's going to be a softer situation for everybody to handle. It's going to be a Metro program, and these kids are here forever.
Oh, I agree with you, Mike. It's like boiling a frog. They're going to do it bit by bit, a little bit in Chelsea, a little bit in Lynn, a little bit in Everett, a little bit in Brockton, a little bit in Quincy, a little bit in Malden, a little bit in Saugus, a little bit in Salem. But notice, I don't see Mini-Me offering to take him in his estate in Berkshire. Oh, ooh, how about Marblehead? Ooh, no. Brookline, no. Newton, no. Wellesley, no. How about Cambridge? How about right near Chief Spreading Bull's $1.7 million mansion? No. That's not for us. That's not for us limousine liberals. That's for you working stiffs. No, you live with the consequences. You send your kids with 40-year-old men and children with tuberculosis and scabies. That's for you. That's not for us. A lot of you are saying, can I give out the number again to Charlie Baker's campaign headquarters? Here it is. 617-254-2014. Also, the rally next Saturday. I need all of you to show up, my friends. Please show up. Next Saturday, July 26th at 11 a.m., 11 o'clock in the morning on the steps of the state capitol. The Kuhner Report is going to be spearheading a major Stop the Invasion rally. Shauna O'Connell will be there. Mark Lombardo will be there. We'll have other political leaders there. My friends, we can win, but only if we, the people, rally. 617-266-6868 is the number. Russell, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Welcome.
Jeff. Good morning, Jeff.
Hey, Russell.
Hey, I have 3 quick points, but I wanted to answer your question. I don't think Duvall was offered anything. I think this is his ideology. This is what he does, and he's happy to accept this for us. Hey, thanks for setting up the rally. I'll be there on the 26th. I think we need to do 2 things. I think we need to go at this from a legal standpoint. We need legal minds out there to determine if what they're doing is even legal in the first place.
Oh, it's illegal.
Yeah. But secondly, I think we need to send out a notice to every household in the United States and say, here, are you for this or against it? And let them check the box. And then if you say, I'm for this, I need your name, your billing address, social security number, and your bank account routing numbers, because everybody who supports this in writing is going to get a bill every year. That's what I think we should do.
That's a great idea, Russell. Let the liberals, let the progressives, let Mini-Me and Marsha Coakley and Steve Grossman, let them put their money where their mouth is. I will bet you dollars to donuts, not one of them would take in any of those children. They wouldn't even pay a shekel, even a shekel for one of those kids. 617-266-6868, 844 on the great WRKO. Larry Kudlow and I will debate this next, as well as more of your calls. Don't touch that dial. 848 here on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. My friends, we're joined as we are every Friday at this time by Larry Kudlow. Segment is sponsored by South Shore Bank. He is a CNBC analyst, nationally syndicated talk show host, and you can hear his radio program every Saturday evening here on the great WRKO. Larry, thanks so much for coming back on the Kuhner Report.
Thank you.
Larry, I wanted to talk to you about the immigration crisis, but before we get to that, CNN is now reporting that according to senior U.S. defense officials and intelligence officials, our intelligence has now concluded that the Malaysia Airlines Flight 17 was most likely shot down from the sky by pro-Russia separatists inside eastern Ukraine. Larry, is it time that we finally started to get tough with Putin's Russia?
Well, look, of course, we have to get tougher with Putin's Russia. I think another piece here of the puzzle, I mean, you're right. I'm sure these reports are correct that it came from the Ukrainian side and it came from these so-called Russian, pro-Russian terrorists. But I was rather taken by what General Keane said last night on TV. I know him, and he's a smart guy, and he has great sources. And his point is that Russia is waging a proxy war inside Ukraine, inside East Ukraine. So you really have to finger them. You know, they're selling them weapons. They have special forces on the ground running these operations. These operations are not just homegrown operations. In other words, to put it in President Bush's terms, George W. Bush's terms, Russia is really the source of this. They are the parents of this. You're either with us or you're against us. And this is a Russian-sponsored terrorist operation. And I think if you look at it in that light, then I think, yes, we must take much, much stronger actions here because it's become such a dangerous situation.
Larry, if you were suddenly thrust into the White House, or if you were advising the president, what would you tell him to do? Would you say impose tougher sanctions? Would you say it's time for us to start arming the Ukrainian government and the Ukrainian military to the teeth? What would you be advising the president, Larry?
Well, I'd certainly probably take both of those options. I think we should have been arming the Ukrainian government. They need help on that. It's a friendly government. It's an EU-leaning government. In other words, a Western-leaning government. So we need to help them militarily. I think we probably should put some advisors in there. There may already be American advisors in there. I don't know because I don't know the state of the Ukrainian forces. I'm told they're brave fighters but somewhat ragtag in their organization. I think sanctions are going to play a role. We need Europe to come in on the sanctions and back us up. The president did before this action. Increase sanctions. I like that, but I think he's got to go a lot further. And we may have to retaliate in even greater terms. I mean, Congressman Peter King last night, said we should think about not permitting Russian planes to land in the United States. That would, cut off commerce completely. Those are the kinds of things that we need to kick around. I think everything should be on the table. I thought President Obama's whole reaction function yesterday spelled weakness, not strength. And it just didn't seem like he wanted to talk about it. He was too busy campaigning and eating hamburgers. And I think that kind of attitude really encourages Russia and its adventurism. They're pushing the envelope as much as they can. And the last point I want to make on this is when America is weak at home, we are weak overseas. And our influence overseas has diminished substantially in recent years. I think part of that is that our economy has diminished substantially. I testified this past week before the Joint Economic Committee on the 5th anniversary of the so-called economic recovery. This is the worst economic recovery in the entire post-World War II period. All the fiscal spending stimulus, all the monetary money printing stimulus has completely failed. Our tax rates are high. Our corporations are suffering from a lack of competition on the tax front. We don't have, more than 2% growth. It should be double that. I go back to 30 years when I worked for Reagan. Reagan argued, if you're strong at home, you're strong abroad. We are weak at home, so we are weak abroad. So people are taking advantage of that. Our allies barely respect us, and our enemies do not fear us.
Larry, before I let you go, I want to get your take on the immigration crisis, the bleeding sore at the border. It now appears that 50 to 60,000 so-called unaccompanied minors from Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador are being dumped across the border. They're being placed in refugee centers. They're being flown and bused to cities and towns all across the country. The governor of Maryland has said he doesn't want them in his state. The Democratic governor of Connecticut says he doesn't want them in his state. Iowa has said no. Other states are saying no. And yet here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, liberal Democratic Governor Deval Patrick has said he will take at least several hundred and house them and shelter them temporarily. Do you think it's a good idea, Larry? And if so, why?
Well, I personally think it's a terrible idea. I mean, liberal governor Deval Patrick, you forgot to say very liberal governor Daniel Malloy, and you forgot to say very liberal government O'Malley in Maryland. These guys are all liberals, so the liberals are split. Conservatives are not. I think it's just crazy to start busing these kids around the country. Look, I think the law has to be changed very, very quickly. I wouldn't give Obama his money until that 2008 law is changed. And with all the humanity possible, with all the humanity and kindness possible, I believe we have to deport these unaccompanied kids. And I also think we have to root out the criminals and the drug dealers and the killers who are part of this. We've had some very disturbing news reports about who some of these people are. They're not all 8-year-olds, as you probably know. So they all have to go home. They all have to go home. We're going to have to deal with their host governments and try to figure out some ways to prevent this in the future. And then we have to go back to the drawing board and take a look again at what kind of immigration reform the country wants. And border security, even though I'm pro-immigration reform, I am also pro-border security. So we're going to have to figure out, do we want more resources on the ground, human resources on the ground, more border agents? Do we, in fact, want to beef up the fence? Do we want to build a wall? All these things have to come into play. And then are we going to try to fix the visa system so those who should come in here to help the country can come in here to help the country? Right now they can't come in. So it's a whole replay. But the first action should be to humanely let these kids go home and to single out the criminals among them and probably put them on trial.
We have been talking with Larry Kudlow, CNBC analyst, nationally syndicated columnist. You can hear his radio program every Saturday evening here on WRKO. Larry, thanks so much for coming on the Kuhner Report. Have a nice weekend, my friend.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate
Take care,
it.
Larry. 617-266-6868 is the number. Lines are blazing. Harvey, you've been holding patiently. RV, forgive me, my bad. RV, you've been holding patiently. Thanks for holding, and welcome.
Jeff, come on. Come on, Jeff. Jeff, I don't know. Things are going bad here in Lynn. I've been here for 20 years now, and I've never seen it this bad, Jeff.
Now, RV, when you say it's going bad, you mean the influx of illegal immigrants?
Everything. Let's see. I remember going to Home Depot the other day, and there was a bunch of illegal immigrants outside waiting for people to go in, shop. Then 20 of them would approach you looking for work. Apartment buildings here flooded. I mean, you got 3-decker families. Got about 20 to 30 people living in an apartment. That's what they're doing, Jeff. They're swamping them down here. They're putting them in 3-decker families. The landlords are making money, so there's something bigger going on here, Jeff.
Well, and Harvey, if Diablo Patrick has his way, if Mini-Me has his way, he's going to bring in at least several hundred more. I think it's going to be thousands. I think he's lying. And you guys in Lynn are going to get more of these illegal immigrants.
You know what's happening here? It's like shoving 10 pounds of garbage into a 5-pound bag. That's what's happening. I mean, it's just everything. The jobs, the communities. I just bought a house last year, and within from now till last year, things have just plummeted. I mean, from people roaming the streets, moving in, everything's just going down.
Harvey, your property values are going to continue to go down, and I'm not trying to upset you, but I want you to know because this is coming. The only way to pay for this
know what to do.
is your property taxes are going to go through the roof.
Yeah. And
they're going to hose you down good, Harvey.
Yeah, I was telling my wife, I'm working 2 jobs. I'm in school full time. My wife's working 2 jobs, and we can't keep up anymore. So, Harvey, I don't know.
Can you and your wife make it to our rally next Saturday, 11 o'clock, at the steps of the State House?
Yep. We went to the last one. Yep. We show our faces in support.
Harvey, I look forward to seeing you, my friend. Hang in there, buddy. We can beat them back if we rally together. 617-266-6868. If we express our anger and our disapproval, my friends, the peasants, we can take this state back, but I need your help, my friends. Next Saturday, July 26th, 11 a.m., steps of the State House, us versus Mini-Me, and I'm betting on us. 617-266-6868. Coming up next, I've got a statement here from Charlie Baker's people, as well as Open Lines Friday. More with your calls after this short news break with Angela Anderson.
News at the top and bottom, talk in between.
Executing assigned host duties flawlessly because I can't do wrong.
This is AM 680 WRKO, Boston.
Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer, cleaning up the liberal bull. Hour 4 of the Kuhner Report. Open Lines Friday. Anything you want to talk about, my friends, I throw the show over to you, the great Kuhner Country audience. 617-266-6868. You can also text us at 680-680. I want to read to you a couple of texts because these texts are brilliant. Really nailing the response to Mini-Me's proposal. He's now fleshed it out in more detail yesterday. He now says there's going to be several hundred Central American unaccompanied minors that now will be coming to the People's Republic of Massachusetts at a major facility. He says he wants it to be a secure facility but not a jail. He wants them to be able to play, to go to school. He says it's temporary for 4 months. They'll be given lawyers, every single one of them, until they can be properly processed and reunited with their family, most likely here in Massachusetts. And he says it's the humanitarian thing to do, it's the right thing to do, it's the big-hearted thing to do. Notice, though, what's several hundred? 200, 300, 500, 700, 800? Look how deliberately vague he's being. And I'll bet any of you the best steak dinner at the Hanover Street Chop House, you ain't seen nothing yet. Because he's got to bail out the dear leader, because nobody else wants him. So 4, 5, 6, 700, that's not going to cut it. There's 60,000 of them. And so he wants the precedent established that we just start taking them in. And then you'll see another wave, and then another wave, and then another wave. And before you know it, we will become not Massachusetts, but the People's Republic of Massachusetts. Viva Massachusetts! Viva Mexico! 617-266-6868 is the number. This is from 774. Jeff, we should tell Patrick that if he really cared about these children, that he should remember that they come from corrupt countries and that it would not be humane to let these children come to a corrupt state like Massachusetts. Bingo, 774. This is from 413. Jeff, I want to know the long-term plan for our Commonwealth if we take in these, quote, political pilgrims, end quote. Deval, please tell us that before. Oh, he won't tell you, because I'll tell you what the real costs are. We're going to have to educate them. We're going to have to house them. We're going to have to give them free health care. We're going to have to give them public housing, food stamps, welfare. This is going to break our back. You heard Shauna O'Connell. We're looking at least $1 billion to maybe $2 billion illegal immigration is already costing us. Cities like Lynn, Chelsea, Brockton, Everett, Quincy, they're going to be bankrupted by this. So, no, we're paying for it. And what does he care? Because he's gone in 6 months. 617-266-6868. Here's another text from 781. Jeff, one person rents the apartment. He's talking about, this texter is talking about illegals. One person rents the apartment, then they break it up into single rooms and they rent the space out and make money from them. That's why there are 12 names on one mailbox. Oh, I know 781. See it all the time. This is from 210. Jeff, Mexican-American contractors will use illegals for cheap labor and to make themselves rich. They give them a garage, food, rides, and put up with the narcotics. A lot of criminals are going to be coming into our communities, my friends. These are not 5, 6, 7-year-old little children. These are, many of them, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds with 13 tattooed on their face for MS-13, the gang. That's what Mini-Me's not telling us. This is from 978. Jeff, we already have let 6 to 9, actually it's 9. Jeff, we already have let 9 plane loads come into Massachusetts. That's already about 1,200 to 1,800 illegals here. And he's bringing another couple of hundred more. Way to go, Devil Duval. So apparently at 9:45, Brittany is telling me Diablo Patrick Mini-Me is going to be holding a news conference. So we'll see if we take it live, but apparently he's going to give us more details. He's going to try to tell us that it's good for us. Mini-Me, let me tell you right now. You see, his people listen to this show. And he takes I know this, he takes my opposition to him very personally. He can't stand me. So, Mini-Me, I'm going to tell you this directly. There's a saying in Eastern Europe, don't pee on my back and call it rain. Don't stand there and turn this state into a dumping ground for children with diseases, gangbangers, and criminals, and somehow tell us that it's the right thing to do or it's good for us, because it isn't. And you can make all the speeches you want, and you can call us nativists and racists and Nazis, and you can make all the ridiculous comparisons you want. You're going to hear the response from the people of Massachusetts next Saturday. We're going to hear from you, Mini-Me. But next week, Saturday, at 11 a.m. on the steps of the State House, July 26th, you're going to hear from us. 617-266-6868. Final text I want to read, then I want to go to the phone lines. Jeff, this is from 978. Jeff, I can't afford a vacation to Cape Cod, but the illegals get a free vacation at the expense of the taxpayers. Great. Oh, not only that. They're going to go to Camp Edwards, allegedly. This is what the rumors are in the papers. It's going to be a beautiful facility. It's going to be a nice cafeteria, wonderful food. They're going to have themselves beautiful beds, tennis courts, racket courts, football, baseball, swimming, jacuzzis, spas, saunas. Believe me, it's going to be even better than going to the beach at Cape Cod, because it's almost like a private resort. Charlie Baker is very nervous that I criticized him because I just quoted what he said in the Boston Globe. Well, now, here's the statement that he released. The Globe, they quoted him accurately, but Charlie's people stressed that if I read this statement on the air, quote, please include the last statement if you read it on the air. So somehow they think this the last sentence... Oh, okay. Brittany's upset. She says you weren't supposed to read that. That was insider information from the Baker people. But anyway, it's okay. There's no secrets here on the Kuhner Report. So I have to read this last sentence because he thinks that's somehow the saving caveat or nuance. Here is straight from Charlie Baker. Quote, the current crisis is heartbreaking and is the result of Washington, D.C.'s failure to come up with bipartisan reforms to our broken immigration system. Next sentence. All of the states, including Massachusetts, should be part of the effort to provide humanitarian relief for the unaccompanied children that have crossed the border. In other words, he agrees with Mini-Me. He agrees with Diablo Patrick's proposal to shelter whatever it is, these several hundred Central American children. It's right there. Here is the last sentence that I have to read. Quote, but before a decision is made, the feds need to make clear how many people they are considering, how long they are expected to be housed, and provide an absolute guarantee that this is a temporary situation completely funded with federal dollars, unquote. Oh, Charlie, stop it. Good time, Charlie. Stop it. You're sounding like Churchill now. This is Churchill Charlie. Look how muscular he is in resisting this illegal invasion. But the feds need to make clear how many people they're considering, how long they're expected to be housed, and provide an absolute guarantee that this is a temporary situation completely funded with federal dollars. Charlie, stop it. My God, I'm going to start calling him Churchill Charlie. Don't be such a hardliner, Charlie. Don't be so principled, Charlie. Sorry, Charlie, with all due respect, and I know you're listening. What planet are you living on? No, really. It's not going to be temporary. What guarantee has Obama ever made that he's actually honored his word? Can you name me one? Genius. Was it, if you like your health care, you can keep your health care? If you like your insurance, you can keep your insurance? It's going to save us $2,500 per family? You mean that guarantee, Charlie? How about the guarantee when he said the border was secure, Charlie? Was it that guarantee? Was it the red line in Syria, Charlie? Was it the red line in Ukraine, Charlie? Can you tell me one guarantee he's actually upheld? So his guarantees aren't worth the paper they're written on, and you know it. And the feds have to pay for this. We are the feds. What are you talking about? It's our money. Yes, some of it goes to Beacon Hill. Some of it also goes to Washington, D.C. You should know that. No. Let me be candid. Because it's about time Charlie learned. If you don't have a backbone, Charlie, don't run for office. This is a weaselly-mouthed statement. He wants to look compassionate on the one hand, so the liberals and the Democrats can't tag him as being against the children. But on the other hand, fiscally tough. But I only agreed if the feds, they're going to tell us how many and how long they're going to be housed. And this situation has got to be only temporary and completely funded with federal dollars. I held the line for the taxpayers. You're a coward who can't defend the people of your own state. And you know what else is? And I'm going to tell you this because you need to know this. You're frankly not very politically astute. This issue alone would have propelled you straight to the governor's office. We don't want it. Republicans don't want it. Independents don't want it. Democrats don't want it. Democratic governors don't want it. The people of this country don't want it. The people of this Commonwealth don't want it. And instead of siding with us, you listened to your phony, bogus Democratic advisors who have been telling you to run as vanilla. And you know what happens to vanilla? Nobody likes vanilla, Charlie. Nobody orders vanilla, Charlie. Nobody elects vanilla, Charlie. So let me give you one final piece of advice. From me to you. Grow a backbone and defend the taxpayers of this state, or frankly, get out of the race. 617-266-6868, because the Republicans can and should do better. 918 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner speaking truth to power. Gina, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi, Gina. You're on the air.
It's not Gina. It's Tina.
Tina. I'm sorry. I have Gina up on the screen.
That's okay. Right on, Jeff. Go after them. Call Mark Fisher. See where he stands. I never liked Charlie Baker. He does not have a backbone. He never will side us with us. Go right to him. Call Mark Fisher. I like Mark Fisher. I've heard him speak. He's my kind of guy. I hope you get him.
Thank you, Tina. Well, I got my own problems with Mark Fisher, but let that go. Bill, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Open Lines Friday. Go ahead, Bill.
Hello, Jeff. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Excellent show. I tried to get through the other day when you were talking about Elizabeth Warren, and I wanted to call and tell you why you're wrong about Elizabeth Warren.
Okay, go ahead. Shoot.
She's not Barack Obama. She is not the cult of personality, but she does have an issue, and it's a really good one. She owns that the middle class is getting handed. She owns that currently, and 50% of Democrats and 50% of Republicans poll yes, that the system is sort of rigged against them. This is the issue of the next 5 to 7 years. I think Rand Paul or Rick Perry or someone is going to try to steal it from her, maybe Hillary, but it's such a good issue. That's what's propelling her currently.
Bill, I got to tell you the truth. I think this is all Fantasyland stuff by liberals. First of all, she's part of the system. She was in bed with insurance companies. She's worth $14 million. Yeah. She's part of the 1%. She's a complete fraud. This stuff about her being a phony Indian, maybe the liberals are so corrupt in this state they look the other way. But I'll tell you this, in the rest of the country, when you make $350,000 a year to teach one class based on a bogus, how many students? She's talking about student loans and how expensive college is. One of the reasons is you got a professor making $350,000 a year to teach one class. And then completely lied about it, saying she was a minority when she isn't. So I got to tell you, Bill, her shtick is not going to work. She's an absolute joke. She's a complete fraud. And frankly, I don't know if you're a supporter of hers, you tell her from me, change the line, because all she can say is middle class is getting hammered. Middle class is getting hammered. Change adjectives, because that hammering, honestly, it's starting to wear on the ear.
The reason she keeps repeating it, Jeff, is because it's hugely popular in both parties. I heard you calling about unity the other day, and this is exactly the kind of an issue that the country does unify behind. Remember that. 50% of both parties say that the system is rigged.
Oh, that's true. No, the system is rigged.
This is a huge, exactly. So anybody who, believe me, she's not a perfect politician, and somebody is going to steal this issue from her, but whether it remains to be seen whether it's going to be a Democrat or a Republican. I see, because I actually think, the difference on domestic policy, there's not that much difference between Rand Paul and Elizabeth Warren.
I think there's a huge difference. She's for Obamacare. She's for the NSA surveillance program. She's for increasing taxes. She's for increasing spending. I mean, she's to the left of Lenin. I mean, for her, Mrs. $14 million, $1.7 million mansion in Cambridge, $350,000 a year, the house flipper. For her to be saying she's championing the 99%, please, they're going to laugh her out of the country's going to laugh her out of political office. No, that stuff can work here with the corrupt Democrats and the in-the-tank media. But once you start going on the campaign trail in the rest of the country, they're going to look at her and say, are you kidding me? You call yourself a chief? You're a joke. 6-1. You didn't build that teepee, Chief Spreading Bull. Linda, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Go ahead, Linda.
Hey, Jeff, thank you so much for taking my call. I so much appreciate it. I will see you next Saturday, and I'll tell you right now, I'm bringing friends with me. I hope everybody brings a few friends. And I have spent several hours yesterday and at least 45 minutes earlier today calling my senators, calling local reps, state reps, everybody, including Deval Patrick and Charlie Baker, and emailing Charlie Baker as well, because apparently they care more for illegal aliens than they ever will care for American taxpayers. And I'll tell you something, you brought me to tears the other day when you likened this state and this country to Detroit, Michigan. Actually, you likened, I think, Lynn to Detroit. I'm born and raised in Detroit, and like I said to you Tuesday, right after Mayor Kennedy's interview with you, which was awesome, by the way, I'm telling you right now, Jeff, again, and I will say it over and over again, I lived through the 1967 riots in Detroit. We lived right in the city of Detroit on the east side. We had people coming down our streets, shooting at our homes, shooting at the streetlights. We had National Guard and the Army coming down our streets as well. And I'll tell you, it won't happen tomorrow, won't happen next week or next month, but in the years to come, when we take in several million uneducated, unskilled illegal aliens and couple them with the amount of people right now who are out of work. 16% of legal Hispanics in this country are out of work. 18% of black people are out of work. You're going to see massive riots all across the country. And somebody in government better wake up and stop this invasion immediately.
Linda, brilliant call. Literally. You remind me of you're like Paul Revere, but like in suit pants. This is really, she's warning us of what the future is. And what Mini-Me is doing, and Charlie Baker now in collusion with him, it's obvious what the elites of this state are now doing, is they are importing these riots and everything that comes with it into our state.
The news doesn't have to be all day. It just has to be all there. This is AM 680, WRKO, Boston's talk station.
927 here on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. Now, I want to set this up. Cooksey, I'm not kidding, is having a semi-meltdown right now as we speak. He's got his head on his hand. He's distraught. He's in emotional, psychological, almost physical agony. He's very upset at Charlie Baker. Him and Charlie, they're actually friends. They've gone to rock concerts together. They're buddies. They text each other all the time. And he's in an existential crisis right now. He doesn't know what to make of this. Cooksey lives in Lynn. He's living with this invasion firsthand. And there's rats even all over his property. I'm serious, like physical rats, because they can't even take care of the sewage properly, because resources are strained to the breaking point. And now they want to bring in even more illegal immigrants, and Charlie's basically green-lighting it, giving his stamp of approval. So Cooksey now doesn't know if he can even vote for his good friend Charlie Baker. Cooks, are you okay there? Are you going to pass out or something?
I really like Charlie a lot. On a personal level, I consider him a friend. He's a nice guy. He means well. But when it comes to this issue, he's 100,000% wrong. Completely wrong. You have liberal governors all over the country saying, no, stop, we can't do it, we can't take it. You have my mayor in Lynn, Judy, saying you can't do this to us anymore. He lives a city over from me, and he's saying, well, yeah, as long as the federal government promises. Promises what? We promised we'd be out of Korea. We're still there. What is he talking about? And even the state government can't even promise things. The tolls were supposed to be temporary. What is he talking to me about? Promising what? Is he serious? And it's like, there's so many things that Charlie can do that I can overlook. Gay marriage, fine, I don't care. Pro-life, pro-choice, I don't care. They're registers to me. I don't, whatever. But on some things, I know he'll agree with me and vote on my side. But now we're talking about my son. He's going to let them come in? I've got 500 of them running around the school system. We can't afford it. Why, Charlie? Why are you doing this to me?
At this point...
All he has to say is no. I agree with all these other liberal governors. No more. Stop it. I agree with the thousands and hundreds of thousands that are going to protest this weekend. Stop. Enough is enough. And he's welcome him, open arms. Why? You know why? Because they're not going to Swampscott, Charlie. That's why.
Oh, he lives in Swampscott? Oh, okay. Cooks, we're up against it.
And I like him, too. This is me liking him. But I feel personally betrayed by the whole thing.
Cooks.
No, hold on.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Why does he do this? All he has to do is be a Republican. Why does he got to get together with... Does he really feel like this? Or is there a group of people around saying, well, Charlie, the Hispanics will not like you, and then the teachers' unions won't like you? Just say it, man, and let the chips fall where they may. If this is how you really feel, fine. We're on for another half hour, Charlie. You can call me or you can call the show. If this is how you really feel, fine. Or you can change your statement and say you were just consulted the wrong way. And then I will forgive you.
Consulted the wrong way.
But I'm serious. This is ridiculous.
Cooks.
There comes a point where you go, enough is enough.
Cooks, at this point, knowing what Charlie just said, his statement...
If the vote was today, I could not with a clear conscience vote for him on this. This specific issue alone, I could not vote for him on this.
Charlie?
All he had to do was say, I disagree with the governor. Don't give me this BS about promises and the federal government's going to pay for it. Oh, please. And then what are you going to do, Charlie, in 6 months when the arbitrary time limit's up? Are you going to go down there as governor and kick them all out? No, I'm going to get one of these heartfelt, well, we can't get rid of the children. We have to extend the time limit a little bit longer. And then where do they go, Charlie? You going to keep them all in the Air Force Base? Or are you going to go send them off to Lynn and they can go to school at Noah with give me a break. Enough. I'm sick of it.
Charlie?
That's what really grinds my gears.
If you lost Cooksey, you've lost Lynn. And if you've lost Cooksey, it's like Cronkite in Vietnam. Once we lost Cronkite, he lost Middle America. Once you've lost Lynn, you've lost Cooksey. I'm telling you, you've lost the Republican base. You've lost the people of this state. Charlie, if I were you, I'd say you made a mistake. Just say, my aides, take it back, Charlie. Say you were consulted the wrong way. I don't know what happened. Pull an Obama. I don't know. Somebody wrote the statement. I don't know. I don't know. I look at the news and I go, I can't believe I'm learning
say your Twitter account was hacked.
Yeah, whatever, Charlie. You can still pull back from the brink. 617-266-6868. Jeff Kuhner with a red-hot Bill Cooksey. More with your calls next. 9:39 here on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, the voice of the resistance. I got to tell you, Cooksey is so hot under the collar. He stormed out of the booth. He said he gave his rant, he said his piece, and he just stormed out. So I don't know if he's calling Charlie Baker to give him the business or give it to him with both barrels. I don't know what's going on, but Cooksey's gone. You can almost see the smoke coming out of his ears. Before I get back to the phone lines, I want to read one text. Remember I spoke to all of you about when I came back from vacation? Visited some family up in Montreal, up in the Great White North in Canada. And all I'm thinking is, they're pouring across the southern border, completely unvetted. Nobody's checking them. They're just being dumped. Come on down. Come on in. Bienvenido. And yet, I'm there, the Kuhner man, who's been here I don't know how many years in this country. My wife as well. 2 children adopted, from America. They go back generations in the United States. And they were giving me a hard time at the border. They're checking everything. They're checking my card. They're looking at the papers. They're looking at my kids. They're asking me a million questions. Check this out, okay? Check this out. This is from 603. Apparently I wasn't the only one. Jeff, I was coming through Canada yesterday. I'm an American citizen. I got dragged in from the American side. Same thing with me. They tore my car apart, and I'm sitting laughing at the guy. They're walking over the border into the United States from Mexico. There illegally. And I, an American citizen, had a hard time coming and going back to the United States. I'm out of my mind. 603, welcome to the Kuhner man's world. I'm looking at my wife the whole time. And I'm like, I'm sorry, is there some kind of an invasion of illegal immigrants from Canada that I don't know about? But if I came in and beat up jalopy and basically said I was Juan Kuhner from Guatemala, oh, come on in. Where can we set you up, you and your kids and your wife? What facility can we set you up in? What would you like to eat? Oh, you like enchiladas? You want some? No problem. You want some little nachos and guacamole? No problem. Whatever you want. What resort would you like? The one in Texas? Or how about Camp Edwards in Massachusetts? Oh, I can do Cape Cod? I hear it's beautiful. I can do Camp Edwards. Sure, I can do Camp Edwards. Cape Cod, the beaches are nice, the air is nice, look at the nice weather, beautiful facilities. This is incredible. Americans are being literally harassed at the northern border. Illegals are just coming across the southern border. I've given you America in a nutshell. Comrade John, how you are, comrade?
See, FAC. All right, first of all, I don't know who's going to lose it first now, Cooksey or Obama. As far as Charlie Baker goes, I don't want a governor who has to go to consultants to figure out which way he is on an issue, okay? Now, I thought this would never happen. I agree with Bill about Elizabeth Warren. Because you said it yourself. She's a fraud. She's a liar. She's a cheat. Who did we just elect twice in the office? Never underestimate the stupidity of the electorate, Jeff. That's if there is an election.
Thank you very much for that call, Comrade One. Words of wisdom from Comrade One. Tom, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Go.
Jeff Kuhner, 680 RKO. We need a double shot of red, white, and blue dynamite, baby.
Thank you for that call, Tom. What's on your mind, buddy?
Jeff, Governor Perry's got me worried. You know, he's got the cool hairdo, he's got the cool glasses, the expensive suit, the cufflinks, the polished-up Texas accent. He's got the swagger, the cool as a cucumber routine down. But you know what, Jeff? Is he becoming a Scott Brown? I've yet to see the National Guard on the border. He seems to be showing, like, a lot of swagger, but not too much action. What do you think about that, Jeff?
Look, I mean, Tom, thank you for that call. Look, I think there's no question about it. The Obama presidency is imploding. There are now reports from his own people inside the White House. This is what they're telling the liberal media, that he's now hunkering down with the Hollywood elites, that he'd rather be in Hollywood or he'd rather be doing a fundraiser than dealing with all the problems facing the country. I think there's no question about it. He's out of his league. He's out of his depth. He can't, I swear to you, he can't do an 8-hour workday. He can't. Now, I understand he has a plan. I understand he wants to destroy the country. I understand he's in the process of destroying the country. But when the Democrats come to him and say, hey, look, you're making it so obvious. We're going to get, everyone's using that word now. So, Chief Spreading Bull, we're going to get hammered in November. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about his own party. He doesn't care about his fellow Americans. He doesn't care about anybody but himself. And to me, an underreported story of this week, I kid you not, how many vacations has this man taken? It's obscene. How many parties, how many concerts, how many cocktail events, how many movie showings? He's taking another 16 days off. This time he's coming down to Martha's Vineyard. Again, to party on our dime here. 16 days. Do you get a 16-day vacation at a luxury 5-star resort at the Vineyard? Paid for by the taxpayers? I mean, this is highway robbery. This is the stuff of Eastern European dictatorships or third world banana republics in Africa. This is what African chieftains do this. And nobody says anything. Nothing. I see him eating. I see him drinking. I see him stuffing his face. I see him on the beach. I see him swimming. I see him surfboarding. I see him with cocktails. I see him dancing. I see him on stage with Beyonce and Jay-Z and with Elton John. He can't even go down to the border. He's got time to fundraise. He's in Texas, but I'm not here for a photo op. I'm not here for a photo op. Because you don't want to see the disaster that you've unleashed on this country, you phony, you fraud, you. And so now, these radical libs stick together. One hand washes another. One back scratches the other. No one else wants to take him? Call Mini-Me. You can always count on that buffoon. That poodle to do his dirty work for him. Arthur, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Welcome.
Hey, Jeff, just a couple of quick points, if I could. To begin with, Jeff, if you're going to make any noise with Deval, the thing on the State House is going to be great, but the people have to be where these people are coming in, just like they were in San Diego, and that will make it go away. That will make it a national story, and Deval doesn't want that.
Arthur, I can tell you this right now. I've been talking about this with Cooksey. I shouldn't really be saying this, but I'm going to say it because we're family. So I consider this audience my family. If they give out the details of the bus routes or whatever that they're going to take, let's say it's Camp Edwards, just for argument's sake, I will be there, I am telling you, with how many people want to come with me, and I will block that bus as they did in towns and cities across the country. I am telling you, I am now going to engage in civil disobedience. I am now the civil rights activist of the 21st century on behalf of the American people.
And you know, these people have already been coming in beforehand because Lynn says this just didn't start yesterday. It's been going on for a few years, but now they've decided to just fill the pool at the end real quickly while they've been just doing it in dribs and drabs. And just one more thing about Charlie Baker, please, before I go. He ran a horrible campaign the last time. He's enough to make me throw up. How this guy gets the nomination, he's just a typical old boy Republican while running a he doesn't feel the anger and the passion of the people. He didn't feel it last time. He doesn't feel it this time, and that's why Cooksy's so angry. You know, he's going to get our vote, but you know what? That doesn't matter anyway.
Arthur, to all of you, compare Baker's response to what we heard from Sean O'Connell earlier in the show. Imagine if Shauna O'Connell was the candidate for the Republican Party. Oh, ay. It would be a wipeout. It would be a political slaughter. She would win, I guarantee you, with 60% of the vote. And that's why I've been saying this for a long time. Everybody says, Jeff, you're being an extremist. Charlie Baker's candidacy is the last stand of the old guard. We are taking over the conservative movement. Kuhner country is taking over the Republican Party. And you're going to see all of these insurgents next Saturday at the rally. That's the future of the Republican Party. And that's why the Democrats and the liberals fear us. Because, my friends, for the first time in generations, in decades, there's now a resistance. And we're getting bigger and stronger every day. 9:50 on the great WRKO. It's time to take our state and our country back. More with your calls after this short break. 9:55 here on the great WRKO. My friends, apologies to all of you and to Tom. We're having some problem with the reception on my headphone. And so when Tom called, he was breaking in and out. I couldn't hear him. And I just heard he's losing his swagger. And there's been stories in the press about Obama losing his swagger. So I assumed the question was about Obama. I didn't hear much of what Tom asked. But apparently it was about Governor Rick Perry. So I'm sorry about that. It wasn't I'm trying to dodge a question on Perry. Literally, I did not hear the question because of some of the technical difficulties we're having today with the feed. So apologies to all of you. 617-266-6868. Let's take a couple more calls. Rich, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Welcome.
I'll cut right to the chase.
Sure.
I'm no conspiracy theorist, but this timing of the immigration and the gun bill, this anti-gun bill that the legislature is working on, is a little too coincidental to me. 2 months ago, I called both you and Cooksey and notified you that this legislation was in there, and Cooksey was laughing. He thought it was very funny, and you just blew it right off. 10 days ago, it was announced on the news on WRKO radio that the NRA is on board with this gun legislation, that was a complete lie. Now, it looks like they're going to pass it. You're remarkably silent on what the legislature is doing. Representative George Peterson, rhino trader, gun banner Republican, flip-flopped on this, and you never even called him out. I never even had a member of Gold on your show. Do you have anything to say about this? And I really hope the gun owners of Massachusetts don't have to boycott your station over this.
Well, Rich, I don't know if you listened to the show for 4 hours, but I have done the gun bill extensively. In fact, I did a whole hour on it. And I took on Goal. I criticized Goal. I even had state representatives on. I had Leah Cole on. We did almost a 15-minute interview with her. So I have been criticizing this gun bill. I think it's a draconian gun control bill. I think it violates our Second Amendment rights. I think it's complete overreach. I think it gives way too much discretion to the sheriffs. I believe it's a fundamental assault on our right to defend ourselves. So honestly, Rich, maybe you just listen to an hour of the show or half an hour of the show, but if you're a regular listener of the show, I guarantee you, no one has been a stronger opponent of this gun bill than Jeff Kuhner. Jeff, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
I want to make a mention about the bartender law in Massachusetts. If a bartender serves liquor and he's not watching his patrons and they get drunk, the bartender can lose his job and his livelihood and he can go to jail. Our congressmen, our lawmakers, with this immigration, they're breaking the law. They're not watching out for the American citizens, and they're not going to jail for what they're doing to the American people. But the bartender, he goes to jail just by serving too many drinks to one of his patrons.
Jeff, you and I don't pay, if we're $5-10 short on our taxes, look how they barrel down on us. But if you're an illegal immigrant, no problem. I mean, just to show you how we are now being discriminated against. Americans have become second-class citizens in our own country. And that's why next Saturday, we're going to send a message loud and clear. Diablo, I hope you're listening, because trust me, Massachusetts will be speaking in next week, 11 o'clock, Saturday, July 26th, at the steps of the State House. All of you, please be there. Carol, I've got 45 seconds. Go.
Yes, I say, why don't we write in Sean O'Connell as governor on the vote?
You know what? If Charlie doesn't... yes, I like that idea a lot. Charlie, are you listening? You may have just lost the election, genius. I gotta go, my friends. You've been listening to Boston's Bulldozer. And remember, together, we're beating liberals one day at a time. Have a nice weekend. See you all on Monday. Same time, same place. Here at the great WRKO.
News at the top and bottom, talk in between.
Executing assigned host duties flawlessly because I can't do wrong.
This is AM 680 WRKO, Boston.